We want to get some insight into the effect of what the president is saying and what the strategy behind it might be from Anthony Scaramucci. He, of course, was a former White House communications director and worked closely with President Trump prior to that, but also for 10 days in the White House in that role. And it's good to see you again, Mr. Scaramucci. Thank you.
It was 11 days.
I'm so sorry.
That extra day. I mean,
my apologies.
I mean, it's 9.1% of my federal career. I mean, come on.
I shouldn't be making a mistake like that.
You guys are known for accuracy.
Yeah, no, my apologies.
Listen, that was. I want to ask you that.
What do you think?
Well, listen, that was a great moment for America, because if America needed a wake-up call about how dangerous Donald Trump is, they got it tonight. He's basically suggesting that the corruption is taking place in a way where the corrupt people are voting artificially for Republican members of Congress, but they're voting artificially against Donald J. Trump for president. It's the biggest bunch of bunk that I've seen ever from him. It's no longer astonishing to me that the people around him are not stopping him, blocking him, intervening.
Why not?
But the American people did. Why not? They're afraid of him. They're afraid of him. That Twitter feed is converting right now as we speak to a presidential Twitter feed, to the angry, bizarre uncle that all of us have in our lives, and some of us have in our attic or basement, and we all have to look at at Thanksgiving. And so it's going from the presidential Twitter feed to that shortly. And the GOP, if John Kennedy were alive, he wrote a best-selling book called Profiles in Courage in the 50s. If John Kennedy were here today, he'd be writing about the GOP, Profiles in Cowardice. I mean, these guys are spineless guys, and they're going to do what spineless people do. But that's okay. The American people are not spineless people. We're going to work him out of there. We've got 76 million votes, maybe 77 when all the votes are tabulated on behalf of the vice president. The vice president schmeisted the guy. This was a killer election. Remember, the Pennsylvania legislature, 1,000%. You see, what's being misplaced here is that it all didn't come in at 11:59 on election night.
Right.
He's going to win the election 53-47, 52-47. He's got the most votes in presidential history. He's flipped 5 states. In addition to that, he beat an incumbent president. It's the first time that that's happened in 40 years, 28 years, I'm sorry. And it's the only third one that's happened since World War II. And he brought with him, he made history by making Kamala Harris the first African-American vice president female in the United States. And so it's a legendary election. If it all came in place, we're instant gratification society, you guys up in Canada too. If it came to bear at 10:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everybody would say, wow, that was an incredible election. But here's what the Republicans did. They blocked the absentee ballot counting in Pennsylvania until Election Day. Okay, and so now they're all behind on the counting. Okay, and now they're trying to stop the counting. But wait a minute, let's parse the words. We're only going to stop illegal counting because, man, we need counting in Nevada and we need counting in places like Arizona. So this is bizarre. Okay, and it's not going to stand. And the good news is the people of the United States are going to evict this guy from the White House on January 20th, if not sooner. I mean, he may end up, he's obviously crazy, so he may end up with a 25th Amendment situation here. Or you could get somebody like McConnell who doesn't need him anymore. He knows he's powerless. He got 3 Supreme Court justices out of him, 420 judicial appointments. They don't need him anymore. What they do to you in Washington, they hit you with a bus. So maybe they'll just say, hey, look, you got to go.
Do you think that might be the case? It's interesting you say that. Ambassador John Bolton was on the show a little while ago, and he was saying that it's good. If in fact it comes down to Mr. Trump refusing to leave the office, that it's really the key factor is going to be other Republicans. But they didn't suffer the losses at the state level in the Senate or even in the House in Congress that they were expected to. Do you think they feel, they can make the break from Trump? Do you think they'll apply that pressure? They haven't in the past.
Well, I think they will. Yeah, this is like the Night King. And remember, I'm talking about the presidential election. Total repudiation by the American people at the presidential level. But remember, we like that sort of shared power inside of Washington. We like divided government in the United States. And so you're sort of getting everything covered here. You've got something for your soul. Donald Trump is leaving, and you've got something for your pocketbook. The Republicans are going to hold the taxes in line. And so Wall Street obviously likes that. This is the biggest power surge on Wall Street in the last 3 election cycles. So that's very positive. But listen, John Bolton is probably right. The military is not going to get involved here. The Secret Service will remove him if they have to. He's not going to be allowed to stay there. That's the people's house. The eviction notice is about to come from Pennsylvania. And what I've learned from my sources in Pennsylvania, the reason why they haven't released this information yet is they're quadruply checking the information so that when this guy and his bozo lawyers go to challenge it, they've got him dead to rights on the information. So this will be over very shortly. And thank God. What you saw tonight in the United States was further evidence why the American people, in their majority, rejected this guy at the polls. This would have been a very dangerous situation over the next 2, 3, or 4 years. He was trying to move the country into a Hungarian-style authoritarianism, and we needed to reject him. And I am very proud that I was part of a coalition of people that pushed him out of there.
Ultimately, you're right. They rejected him with the popular vote. But the number of people who voted for him, it wasn't a total repudiation. He did not reduce his base. In fact, he grew his base. More people voted for him in this election than they voted in the last election. How do you explain that?
Well, I can explain that. And again, remember, this is a very binary outcome in these elections. So he lost. Okay, we won. He lost. He's leaving. I mean, that's really the whole sentence, like a haiku. It's like an American haiku. And so here's what I would say to you. Those people that are voting for him feel left out of the system. Those people that are voting for him feel anger related to their plight in life. I grew up in a blue-collar family. I understand that. In the 1960s and 70s, when I was being raised by my mom and dad, my dad was a crane operator, an hourly worker. We had this aspirational living standard. We were decidedly in the middle class. And he had this belief that a few of his kids were going to go on and live the American dream. Those very same families today have had their wages crushed over the last 35 years. And wages are down anywhere from 20 to 25% in real economic terms. And you've gone from aspirational working class families to desperational working class families. And they're upset. And he represents an avatar for their anger. He's also has them believing that there's a great culture war going on in the country. And so he could lie about the pandemic. He could destroy the economy. He could denigrate democratic leaders around the world and praise despots. And they're still going to vote for him because they feel hopeless. And so what we have to do is we have to cure the ills for those people. And we will. We'll find a way to do that. And, I think there's a very big wake-up call in this country for establishment political leaders that we got to put the right policies in place to help those people. Once that anger dissipates, that personality code will go alongside of it.
Okay, Mr. Scaramucci, I'll leave it there. I appreciate your time this evening very much.
Hey, thank you. Enjoyed being on. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Scaramucci, of course, is a former White House communications director. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.